Come and turn a pot with me, and let me cook up a rainbow. Come and turn a pot with me, and let me cook up a rainbow. Yes, you cook in the country, and you cook on the sea. Yes, you cook in the kitchen, now come and cook with me.
Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, Chef J. How you doing today? I hope that it is beautiful and bright wherever you are. Well, I'm here, chillaxing, and I'm going to share with you some of the food safety issues we need to consider when we're in public eateries. Now, before I came on air, I was going over. Oh, sorry, I'm a bit tired there. Yeah, I was going over some of my pictures and I was looking at my great grandmother. She was part Spanish and she had very, very long hair that went all the way down to her bottom. And she always had it in one, I was told. And I've got a picture of her right in front of me now whilst I'm talking to you. And it's interesting to see how slim they were back in those days. Weight was not an issue. But today we have an issue with weight. Me included. We all have some kind of issue. There's even people who are quite small, but they have internal, so sorry. Oh, I need me a bit of iron. They have internal weight that will cause more problems because it's kind of hidden. You don't really see it. But ultimately, some of the food safety issues, the four main areas of concern are cooking, chilling, cleaning, cross-contamination. So those are the four main ones: cooking, cleaning, chilling, and cross-contamination. Not necessarily in that order. I probably mixed it up. But if food is not cooked at the right temperature, they do need to take the core temperature as well. If that's not happening, then it means by the time you get the food, it's going to make you sick. Another thing with cooking is the aspect of reheating. Now, when you're reheating food, you should reheat it to a minimum of 63 degrees centigrade. No, 70 degrees centigrade. The core temperature 70 to 75, and you should hot hold it at 63 degrees centigrade. Now, these things are things that, as a food inspection consultant, I need to know. Having studied at University of Birmingham, also University of Greenwich on my master's, food safety is really quite important. The impact on our bodies can be really catastrophic, to say the least. So anyway, they should hot hold at 63 degrees centigrade and for a minimum of 60 minutes. Is it 60 to 90 minutes, around there? And after that time, the food should be cooled down and chilled or discarded, depending on what it is. The other thing that's cooking, chilling, again between 5 to 8 degrees centigrade. If you find that you get a cheesecake, for instance, beautiful cheesecake, if you get a cheesecake and the temperature, I'm not telling you to walk around with thermometers now, but it's not at the right temperature, it was not held at the right temperature. It probably could have been at the right temperature, But between being purchased or made and put in the fridge, if it was not held at in chilled conditions and only at room temperature, bacteria would already have started to grow. So it's really important to know how things are handled. Yeah, a bit of this farm to fork concept has come also from the food safety industry, and not just a matter of being vegan. It is about traceability, knowing exactly where food has come from, and knowing its route, temperatures held, etc. All these things have to be documented to save you and I. The other thing is cleaning. Or let's just do cross-contamination. I'll mix it up a bit. Now, cross-contamination is where you're probably prepping meat on the same board you're prepping vegetables. I have been to a cafe, this was a few years ago, and this is when I first started studying food safety and quality management. And the lady was cutting up cucumbers. She didn't wash the skin of the cucumber. She didn't ask me if I wanted the skin removed. So she just started cutting it up. She had just emptied the bins or whatever. Then she came back and started prepping my sandwich. I told her to stop. I told her to throw away what she's already had. I told her she needed to wash her hands if she wanted my money. And then this is something you can do. You don't have to have a credential. You just have to let them know that it's the food safety law, to avoid cross-contamination, to ensure the health of the customer, and to reduce hazards. So anyway, she needed to wash the outside of the cucumber or remove the skin. I prefer the skin being removed. Tomatoes. Ooh, tomatoes. They can carry so much germs. It is unbelievable. I do not eat tomatoes out unless they're cooked in something. Also, another one. Let's just deal with the issues first. And then, so that's cross-contamination. Some are obvious, some are not so obvious. Even vegetables. If you're cutting something on a board, or you've put something on a board which has the soil on it, the soil gets on the cutting board, then you start cutting the vegetables on the same board, and you haven't cleaned off the soil, then you're going to get bacteria which have the little jackets, they're encapsulated, they will cause some serious damage to your health because they can grow under adverse conditions. So that's that, really. Oh, cleaning. Yes, cleaning. Like I said, the lady came from emptying the bins straight to prepping. Another thing that people do is they handle money and handle food. They have the gloves on, but they're protecting themselves from the money and from the food, but they're not protecting you because the dirt from the money, now money is the dirtiest thing in the world. It goes everywhere and anywhere, especially coins. They drop on the ground. They circulate. They're not washed in between. It's not like you stick them in a washing machine in the bank and before you actually give it to the customer. So the circulation, it's amazing. And I've heard, I don't know this, that $20 notes or £20 notes are actually handled a lot by the drug industry because that's their currency that they use, really, and the 50s. So do be careful with handling money and handling food. Usually, when I do an event, I handle food, somebody else handles the money. It sounds silly, I trust people more with my money than my food, but I simply know how to handle the food, make sure it's safe for my customers, and also to deliver the flavour and the quality that they need. For me to entrust that to somebody else, I have to train them completely. So until that happens, I'll be handling the food. Yeah, so those are some of the food safety issues in public eateries that you will come across. I'm not sure if you've been in a place where it smells like vomit. It looks really clean, but they've used a mop that is really quite dirty, and they haven't really washed out the mop, which is why they do encourage the use of disposables in all aspects. You know, the mops, the tissues for wiping down the table, the tea towels for handling dishes in the kitchen, or at least they must be regularly washed and color coded. Yeah, so those are some of the things that you face. So I hope that you look out and you are mindful of the places that you eat. I would encourage you to look at the food safety number that's displayed. If you see a 1 or a 2, most people do not display their 1 or their 0. If you don't see a label out, there's an issue. There's a problem. Ask them what their score is. If there's a 1 or 2, they are needing improvement. So they're at a grade 1 or 2, there may be issues with their hygiene. However, the very first time that I started doing catering and I got inspected, I had hardly anything in my kitchen. I had areas that were dedicated specifically to the business. The larder is just for the business. There's a cupboard which is just for the business. There's a drawer with the cutlery, etc., which is just for the business. Now that's graduated to a whole big box, because when I'm going out, I need different things. So I put them all in one place. Yeah, so I took pictures of it. It was perfectly clean before they came, and I got a 2. I could not understand. So seeing a 2 does not necessarily mean the hygiene is poor. What happened to me was that I had no paperwork, absolutely none. I had no diary. I had nothing to test the temperatures of the food. I made no specific written guidelines to be used by myself or other staff. I had nothing. So I had zilch. There was no posters up in my kitchen to remind people who are working there. Nothing was disposable. I had kitchen towels, which I was using all the time. So those were the main reasons. So having a 2 and above 2 to 3 does not necessarily mean the hygiene is poor. There might be other areas. The written documentation is just not there. So I would throw caution to the wind with a 2 if you can see for yourself that they have really good hygiene practices. They just haven't done the paperwork. But 3, 4, and 5 are the ones that I would more than likely eat from. A 1 I wouldn't eat from at all. And if there is no, like a 0, or there's nothing, or they just have a pass. In Scotland, there's a new way of doing things, Scotland and Ireland, I think. In their food hygiene score, if there needs to be some kind of improvement, they'll get a pass. Now, a pass is not a wonderful thing to happen. It's just like a satisfactory. It's just okay, but they're going to keep observing you over and over again. So look out for the scores on doors. If you're not sure, before you go to an establishment, go to